Good morning, everybody. If we could please get you to take your seats, we'll get started. Welcome to the March Garrison Community Update. A couple administrative announcements before we roll in. Thank you, Red Cross, for providing coffee. Thank you to the Alpha Battery 5-3 of 17th Fires. They're doing a fundraiser back there for their SFRG, so please partake. And don't forget to visit all the great agencies that we have supporting us here in the back of the room. We do have comment cards on the tables, so if you want to leave us feedback, please grab this card and then leave it. We will collect it at the end. And Colonel Duncan?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
A few updates, and then I want to pass it off to General Graham and Colonel Collins to state. Let me step away from this microphone so it doesn't do that deafening whistle. I want to give you some quick updates, and then we have a whole lot more information in the slides as usual. So I'm going to talk some they're going to seem random, but I just want to make sure we are putting out all the information of things that are going on around base, because that is the purpose for this update, Garrison Community Update, to tell you everything that is going on around base. Please share this information with your subordinates. Distribute. These slides are up on the website. Take them, distribute them. This is intended to go down to the very lowest level, but clearly we can't have weekly town halls or monthly town halls with 39,000 people. So we need you to please take this information and distribute it down. Please tell us if you see a better way of doing that. We will put these on. We will make sure these are probably from here on out. We will have these as this is more of a web presentation where we use the website as the information flow so that you can see specifically where we're getting these chunks of information as we flow through this. But as of right now, all these slides are on the web, so please download them and use them. A couple things that aren't on there that I want to tell you that are going on. We have a thing called a housing market analysis going on right now around JBLM. They just finished Yakima Training Center, and now they're here at JBLM. Essentially what they do, this is an Office of Secretary of Defense level program where they survey the areas where we live. They have a very clearly defined boundary. It's based on algorithms and math and centers of driving distance times and all that. And they drive around. They talk to landlords. They look at houses. They look at what's called an acceptable housing unit based on rank and family size. And I just want you to know that is going on. That drives BAH rates. It drives acceptability of housing in the local community. We then take a lot of that information, go back and talk with the landlord groups, the realty groups, things like that, to build more affordable housing, because still 71% of our service members live off base. And in fact, OSD policy, the big DoD level policy, is off base first. So I know that's a little counterintuitive. We build a lot of on-base housing specifically to enable people to get to and from work easier and to make it a little bit more of a community and family balance, all that kind of things. But interestingly enough, U.S. policy is off-base first. We want to support the community, right? That's the purpose of this housing market analysis that's going on right now. A lot more to follow on that. We'll give an update as soon as we get that full information. It'll be pages and pages and data of reams, and we'll go through it and make it simple and say, here's kind of the changes that we see coming. I know a lot of people have been looking for Kimbrough Pool to open. We actually had a slide up there that we just unfortunately had to pull. We were so close to getting Kimbrough Pool opened. I apologize. We are not going to be open Kimbrough. We are not going to be able to open Kimbrough Pool yet. For all the swimmers, we are still working on it. This will now be our 4th attempt. More to follow. I know that COVID-19, novel coronavirus, same thing. I know that is a hot topic. Madigan, Colonel Tom Bunt will give a good, thorough brief on that. So I will not talk I won't belabor that point right now, but please ask any questions during his brief or at the end. One thing I will say on that is we have a town hall coming up on Friday at 4 o'clock, 1600 local. A Facebook Live town hall. It will not be, we won't do it in a theater. We don't need, so no need to drive to a specific theater on this. We will post the link for how to get to that Facebook Live town hall. We will post that link on the website, home.army.mil/Lewis McCord, our standard website. and it will have the link to click on that Facebook Live town hall, and you can watch it as we discuss. So there'll be senior leaders from across JBLM, General George, Colonel Stainpine, Corin Wing, Colonel Tom Bunt from Madigan, myself, and possibly a representative from the local community as well. Be very informative. And you know, I'll tell you the juxtaposition that we continually try to work here is we stay within the whole of government approach. We stay within guidance of Centers for Disease Control, Health and Human Services, of course, Department of Defense. We're going to put all that information out, how it's all nested, how we're taking guidance from this whole of government approach. We have to balance two things, and we get this question a lot. I just want to let you know now we're balancing two things of ensuring, of course, we take care of our service members, families, retirees, veterans that rely on JBLM every day, and take care of them and ensure that we keep, if and when there is a case around the local community or on JBLM, there is not right now, but if and when there is, we protect our people, we protect our folks, but we also maintain a calm, a sea of calm for the surrounding community. As a DoD entity, all of the surrounding community looks to us for that plan, that calm, that long-term vision. So we'll continue to balance the two of those. A whole lot more to follow on that. There are comment cards on your tables. Please use those. Let us know what other information you would like to see in these town halls. We've made a lot of changes based on previous comments. I love them. Keep them coming. Next month, we do know it is during the Clover Park School District spring break. But there are several other, we're in 15 communities. A lot of those other communities do not have spring break. So we will keep the town hall as the Garrison community update as scheduled next month. That will be on 1 April. So yes, I do know that is Clover Park spring break. If you're not able to make it, by all means, download the video if you want to see it. And of course, the slides will again be available on the web. General Graham, over to you.
Yep. Thanks, Guy. Thanks. So one more time, the town hall, the Facebook town hall, what time is it?
1600, sir. Friday, 4 o'clock Friday afternoon.
Okay. So if anybody on the chain of command has any questions about how this is going to go, come on up and see me at the end of this, and we'll give you all that guidance. So I got up this morning. Who did PT this morning? Raise your hand. Yeah, I don't know if I saw everybody out there, but okay. So I got up this morning, and I was saying, it's kind of cold, it's rainy. And then I thought of General George, who's up in Fairbanks, Alaska right now, and I think the high up there was -30. So I didn't feel so bad. So General George is seeing the other parts of the command right now, but he wanted me to make sure that you all understood that this meeting is absolutely critical. And one thing that I want to keep emphasizing, and I know all the chains of command are emphasizing, and I get a lot of those reports, is our involvement in the housing, okay? We haven't had a large gathering of the senior leaders for a while because our trajectory is pretty good. The best practices are you all, chains of command, involved in your soldiers' issues, and particularly any displaced families that we've got out there. I'm going to turn this over now to John Lee. I'm going to put him on the spot. He's been doing a great job of walking around with Lincoln and ensuring that the chain of command's involved. So I'm going to ask you some lessons learned on working with Lincoln to make sure that we are involved. This is the joys of coming to these events.
You know, Colonel Duncan asked me at the start of this if I wanted to make comments, and I said no.
And then I was overridden.
But I know how the Army rank structure works. So what we've been doing with myself and Command Sergeant Major Balmer, you can stand up also, Command Sergeant Major Balmer. What we've been doing for the division soldiers is we've been looking at those that are displaced the longest, okay? And what we do is we personally go to those houses with reps from Sky's team in the Garrison, as well as Lincoln, the soldier, and the housing NCOs. And we just get those groups together, and we go through what the issue is with the house. We actually go look at what the maintenance problem was, and then discuss the issues with the soldier. And in many cases, there's things that we need to do better, and there's things that Lincoln needs to do better, and we're able to work through them right at that location. Now, I am not ignorant to the fact that as a general officer and a division command sergeant major, we may get better attention, but that's okay. if that's what it takes to get our soldiers back into their homes quicker, we're willing to do that and take the time to do that. So we encourage all of our commanders, battalion, brigade, company commanders to be involved with this. And if you're involved with it, you'll find out there's always more to the story, and you can work through those issues and get our soldiers back in their houses faster. So really just reinforcing what the deputy commander said is chain of command involvement, pressure, presence, it works.
In many cases, it's just communication breakdown. There's a lot of cases we went and there was issues the soldiers had that Lincoln necessarily wasn't tracking or the Garrison wasn't tracking, and we were able to do that by having them all there. But in the end, it's just about soldier communication. A lot of times they're not comfortable. They're not really good at communicating their issues outside of the chain of command. So when the chain of command comes up, they're good at taking that information and relaying it to Lincoln. So communication is key, and involvement really gets down to fixing some of the problems that we have.
And since I have the mic, I just want to recognize the 7th Infantry Division for our participation today. I think. Oh, now you don't want me to talk.
Down. Okay, so that's what we're paying senior commanders to do, senior leaders to do, is to march to the sound of the friction. And the one friction point that we need you to solve right now is our displaced families. All right, Sky.
All right, sir. Thank you.
How many houses are on post,
Yep.
and how many displaced families are there? And is there like one particular neighborhood that has more problems than others?
Yes, there are. Did we bring the heat map by chance? It's probably not in this slide deck. Okay, let me answer all of your questions. 5,159 homes on base, owned by Lincoln. They're building 90 more this summer, so that'll be 5,250 by next summer. There are 3 specific neighborhoods that we do know have the highest displaced. They are all what are called, they're all homes that were built in the 50s and 60s. And they're, due to the time frame they were built and the type of construction, they have a lot of leaks in the bathrooms, the kitchens, and the laundry rooms. 3 neighborhoods, all very similar construction. All 3 have those similar issues, which leads to plumbing leaks, what we generally call water intrusion, plumbing leak. And so Lincoln has moved all 3 of those neighborhoods up to be what they call major renovation this year. And I will get you the exact names of those neighborhoods here in just a minute. I'll tell you what, at the end, I'll give another quick summary on housing. I'm glad this came up. And so I'll get to those 3 neighborhoods and how they're doing that. And you know what? During this time, let me get a couple notes together. I'll talk at the end for a minute or 2 about housing. But anyway, any other questions?
How many displaced families?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I forgot to answer that question. Yeah, right now we have 25.
25.
25. Yes.
Okay.
There were 31 last week. We moved 5. We moved 6 more in. There's 25 right now. There are 12 more planned displacements. In other words, we know we have to displace a family, but most likely we are going to ask those families to transfer to another home. 4 have already agreed to do that. They've already said, yep, just move you to another home. It's more simple than going to a hotel and waiting 2 or 3 weeks to come back. And those planned displacements are because we know we need to do major renovations in those homes. When I say we, I mean the Lincoln team along with Garrison, right? And so we plan the displacement, but it's not a critical life concern right now. They can stay in the home, but we know we're gonna have to take down a whole entire bathroom, and it's their only bathroom maybe in that home, so we plan it for March 20th. So yeah, thank you. Okay. All right, Colonel Collins, please.
All right, good morning. How y'all doing? Fair enough. All right, I feel like I follow suit with my Army brethren. I feel like I should randomly hand this mic off to one of the squadron commanders at the table, but that might not bode well for our relationship to follow, so I'll take it from here. On behalf of Colonel Stainpine, just want to call out a couple cool things we're doing at Team McCourt side of the house, as well as to give some kudos to some personnel who are making our mission happen. First thing is some highlight. This last week, we had several crews return back from Christchurch, New Zealand. Twice a year, we send out a rotation that's in direct support of the National Science Foundation that takes personnel and equipment down to the ice, McMurdo Station, Antarctica. Having done it myself and literally chased a penguin around the aircraft, it's a pretty cool mission set, but it's also absolutely invaluable to bringing back those stuffed penguins to your kids so they can realize you have the coolest dad at your school. However, it was a good mission set. Everybody returned safely and mission done at 100% perfection. Secondly, just last night, we also had several crews return back from their Expeditionary Airlift Squadron rotation. We sent out crews on about every 90-day basis to go support the warfighters in the Middle East. Hundreds of missions were flown, again, with no issues, no faults, and 100% mission success. Great to have them back home with their friends and family and return them back here. Lastly, I did want to pass on some kudos, which is huge to do in these type of forums. As you all may know or will know, that we're facing a huge runway issue on the Team McCord side of the house. I can't tell you how awesome it has been to watch this team truly come to combined efforts to get it picked up as fast as we can to return to our full operational status. General George, General Graham, Sky, you guys have been phenomenal. Mr. Perino and DPW, all the way down to our air base group. It's absolutely been a team effort across the board. I really appreciate it, and Colonel Stainpound will make sure I pass that message along to you guys. I know you know it already through the emails, but again, it's an important public forum to recognize those efforts. So thank you very much. That's all I got.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. For those who might not go over to McCord Field all the time, essentially the runway is in half right now, what's called a culvert collapse. There's a culvert that runs underneath it. We talked about this at the last town hall as well. And unfortunately, that is right in the middle of the runway. So it's at 5,500 feet right now for takeoff. They're able to still do their operations, but there are some other aircraft that can't land there right now, but the wing is still able to continue operations for now. Okay, Alicia, over to you. And Steve's next, yeah.
Next slide, please. Hi, I'm Steve with Public Works. Do you want me to say the 3 neighborhoods, sir, or are you going to do that later? Okay. I-5, good news and bad news. Bad news is it's going on and continues to go on, but to be able to keep a major interstate in the United States in a populated area with full capacity while they're doing this, they're going light speed. We've got a really good contractor, not we, but Washington State Department of Transportation. Things are going really, really well. There's 2 more phases left. We're in phase 3 right now. You can see by the end of probably November, December, they'll be finished and have full capacity just south of the main gate. 6 months later, they're going to start working for the next 3 to 4 years south of the main gate all the way to Center Drive. So it's going to continue on probably through FY25. Next slide. The good news is the event that happened this weekend, they closed down Madigan ACP for 72 hours. They were completed on time. It is now open. You can now use this bridge. Of course, this doesn't work. It did a minute ago. Okay, that bridge is now open. That configuration is not completed yet, but they should complete that in the next 4 to 5 months, probably earlier. But they're doing really, really well. Are there any questions on I-5? That's all I have. I will be followed by Joe.
Thank you kindly. Good morning, everybody. My name is Joe Peak. I'm the Garrison Public Affairs Officer. In case you haven't noticed, there's an election going on here in the United States. And yesterday was Super Tuesday. Today, I guess, is Feedback Wednesday. So, and a lot of things have changed in the past 24 hours. Every time we have an election here in the U.S., DOD puts out their election year guidance, and that just came out a couple of years ago. So I'm going to give you some brief information here. We'll get this up on the JBLM website and share it on the JBLM Facebook page. What we hope to avoid is a couple of years ago, we had a female service member at a political rally here in town, and the next morning, her picture was on the front of the News Tribune, and she was there in uniform. Obviously, they pulled her right up front, and we're trying to avoid that from happening. So anyway, military members may display political bumper stickers on their POV, but only 1 per candidate. So if you want to do 1 for each, a Republican and Democrat, that's cool. You can place campaign signs in your yard off base. No campaign signs on base in base housing. You can contribute to a campaign off duty, but not at work and not using government resources. You can express personal opinions online, but don't identify yourself as a service member or use your rank. And you can attend political events and be active, but not when on duty or in uniform. And military members may not display large political signs, banners, or posters on their POV. engage in partisan political activities or campaigning, make campaign speeches, organize a political rally or fundraiser, serve on a phone bank, or this started just a couple of years ago, sharing social media posts that come directly from a campaign. And so that's unique, and that is in the guidance. Next slide. There we go. Military or civilians may wear political candidates' attire if you're just walking around the base. So you could wear a red hat, or you could wear a Bernie t-shirt or something like that, but you cannot campaign. So this comes up especially in May during Armed Forces Day or during Freedom Fest. I will be there. I'll be walking around. A couple of years ago, we had candidates or other members of their staff showing up and campaigning, and we politely asked them to put their brochures away and go put it back in their car, and then you're welcome to enjoy Armed Forces Day. So I would ask everybody else to help police that up. If you see campaign literature around the base, or if you see somebody distributing campaign literature, ask them to pick it up and take it off base. JBLM is apolitical. No campaign signs on the base. Civilian and DOD employees, their guidance comes from the Hatch Act and DOD policy. So if you don't know what that is, look that up. But not quite as restrictive, but still, civilian employees cannot be doing any campaigning or commenting on political stuff while on duty or using government resources like your computer. And finally, service members and DOD civilians are encouraged to exercise their right to vote, and you have the rest of the year to make sure that you're registered to do so. If you have any questions, check with your local SJA and let the election year continue. And I think I'm being followed by Matt again. Is that right? I believe so. Here comes Colonel Bunt. He's coming from the back. Last month we did a Seahawk handoff. We did not fumble, even though the Seahawks didn't. It did. There you go, sir.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Well, good morning, everybody. How we doing? Well, hopefully you're having a better day than me. Come on now. We're working through a lot of challenges here, but I appreciate everyone's interest in these topics. So I'd like to go over some first before we get to some of the elephant topics in the room with COVID. So let's first hit on the messaging from the Defense Health Agency on the potential reductions in facilities. You all read that in the paper? Show of hands? You might want to? Okay. Really, that's a vote of confidence, right? Because there's 50 facilities that have been selected for reductions. Guess which one is not on that list? That's right. Yours truly, your team here at Madigan. Let's hear it for them. I want to see a round of applause for these people. Because I don't know how many folks manage this every day, but with 5,000 patient visits a day, I'd say these are pretty engaged individuals, and we do owe them a great deal of credit and thanks for their work, because their work was towards the Defense Health Agency's review of the 703 working group. And those work groups take weeks to put together those information in order to support this. And what that means is we are still set currently to deliver the same care we have previously for the past probably couple decades, right? There'll be some adjustments, changes, maybe of additions, maybe even some curtailments of some things, but no removals of any services at this time. Let's go to the next slide. And go. Okay, so we've got some resources also to touch on that are kind of important, right? And I think we're going to talk a little bit about urgent care after this. But the nurse advice line numbers and the patient and the Puget Sound appointing are two key numbers you should have. Please make sure you have these either written down or if you have slides, circle them on your slides to make sure you have those for questions related to some of the issues we're going to talk about with COVID, getting appointments, and then, of course, finding out where urgent care facilities are in the local area. Let's go to the next slide. So urgent care benefit is a very, very rich benefit. They did not have this benefit through pretty much 2/3 of my career, right? Long time. And it's an opportunity for family members and retirees to go in. The retirees would pay a copay. The active duty family members do not. They go in there basically as prime. Their copays, though, are now currently none. But I won't say that potentially might change in the future depending on what Congress decides. But still right now, it's another vote of confidence for our system. But it's important to understand how you access these entities. And so when you do, there's a referral management center number on there. You can hit on option 5 for any questions related to urgent care. And again, we talk about the numbers to kind of get down. There's your number right there. Give you about a second, take a look at that, and next. Okay, this is ear, nose, and throat clinic promotion of review for preventive measures for health, right? The cancer screen drive. And this is one of those areas that as you're kind of looking through your records and looking through, hey, when's the last time I've been to the doc, and any kind of issues or symptomology that might come up, asked about this during your primary care visits and your visits to urgent care. And they can kind of give you, based on your age and other demographics, whether or not you need to be screened, or can screen you right there to kind of give you some peace of mind. There are plenty of slots in there, and no referral is needed for this particular service. Next slide. Okay, there's an open house at the Intrepid. How many know about the Intrepid Center? We do have an Intrepid Center. There's one of 7. Not enough of you folks know about it. So good thing. Mr. Sadler, can you hear me? I'm testing his hearing aid. Okay, all right. He was telling me earlier I need to make this a little bit louder for him. He represents our TBI Intrepid Spirit Center back there. They got PT, OT. They deal with oftentimes post-stroke type of issues, brain health, a whole bunch of other holistic medical opportunities. Please see them in the back if you have any questions. There's going to be some interesting things coming up here on the 19th of March that I encourage you to take part in. Let's go to the next slide. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
Next slide. Okay. MHS Genesis portal, right? Hopefully you're all using this portal. It's another great way to talk to your provider, right? Especially during this time of, hey, wait a minute, I have this feeling, I'm not sure if I got the flu, I don't know what's wrong with me, is to use the portal. It's a great communication method. It's much better than we had with Relay Health, right? And it continues to improve. Every year they're doing updates to it. And I think right now your password's down to, I think, a 4-character password, which is pretty amazing. I mean, it's better than it's better than the library, for crying out loud. So this is one of those things that just please take advantage of, because we are one of 8 facilities in the entire Department of Defense that has this capacity, right? So take advantage of it and enjoy your time here at JBLM. Next slide. Which, ma'am, are you talking about the Genesis site portal? I believe anyone who signs up as an enrolled beneficiary has access to the portal.
And their doctors can talk to them even if my doctor is a civilian off.
If your doctor is not, if you're a civilian prime, no, ma'am. If you're MTF prime, yes, ma'am.
I don't know what MTM is.
That means you're enrolled to me. I have about 108,000 enrolled to me, and there's about 2,000 to 3,000 that are enrolled to providers in the network. So all those 108,000 can use the portal to talk to their provider. It's pretty powerful, and they're pretty good in terms of response, depending on what provider they have, right? How busy, this and that. But I tell you right now, I hit on mine, and I usually hear by the end of the day or first thing in the morning the next day. It's pretty good. Any other questions on that portal? So we can go into that too. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. And we'll talk a little bit about COVID-19, right? Basically, we want to put out the preventive measures and mitigation strategies, right? Because a lot of this is the unknowns, or what do I do? And it really kind of gets down to hand washing, right? Making sure that if you're sick, you stay home, and some other elements that we're working on with the public to trying to make sure that they're squared away on it. We've talked about public health, Department of Public Health involvement in here, and they've been very good about sharing their information with us and where we go to seek kind of issues as they come up. So we've got some hotlines that we're talking about, and we've got the nurse advice line on here to call for folks who have questions on these particular issues, right? We've had a lot of folks that presented at other places in the network for what they said suspected of COVID, what have you. They were all negative, right? So right now, those folks are all screened clear, but they're in the state of Washington, and I want to get this right, Paul. I got Dr. Festel in here. 27 cases, 27 positive confirmed cases in the state of Washington in full transparency, right? All those are severe cases, I believe. Those are all hospitalized. 80% to looks like about 87% now of cases are mild, and those are expected to be treated at home. If anyone has any concerns on that or heard any concerns on that, make sure you tell folks if they feel they have any kind of issues related to COVID or a bad flu that they may or may not have had contracted, to contact their provider first. Do not just present at the facility. And that's the same information that's coming out from the Department of Health as well, and the CDC recommendations. What are your questions? Perfect. Okay. All right. Let's talk again about the overpass for Madigan. All right. Thank you. That's it. That's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Beth Wilson. I'm the chief of the housing division and I work for the Directorate of Public Works. Lincoln Military Housing wanted me to remind the service members and families that are going to be PCSing this year, if you know that you're going to PCS, if you could please get a hold of your district manager and let them know the time frame that you think that you're going to be leaving. And then, of course, when you get hard orders, please make an appointment to go into the district office and have them go ahead and schedule you for a pre-inspection, a final inspection, do your notice to vacate. They're going to go over a lot of information during that appointment on what you need to have your house prepared for at your final. There's also a service that they will give to the families that are PCS in a one-time bulk pickup. So this is in addition to what they give you each year. So if you have items that you don't want to take with you at that time, ask them what you need to do in order to get that scheduled. Also too, the bottom, I just want to make mention, we have quality assurance workers that work on the government side. At the time of your final inspection, or if you think you're going to have problems on your final inspection, you would like a government representative at your appointment, please contact this number that's listed here and we will be glad to show up and assist. We are kind of like a neutral party. We'll determine if they're trying to maybe overcharge you for damages and you don't agree with it. We'll determine at that point what's fair wear and tear and what is occupant damage. Next slide, please. The second part is for those folks that are key and essential that live in the 3 neighborhoods, Westcott, Broadmoor, and Merriweather. There's a survey that goes out annually to, there's 4 questions that are asked. It takes about 2 minutes or less to fill out. The return rate right now is very low. So they're asking if you get that survey, if you can please respond and send it back to Lincoln. It enables them to be able to gauge what houses are going to be available for inbound folks, not just the key and essential, but for all folks. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
When you said that it's done annually, is there a month that we should expect it to come out, or?
Are you talking about for the survey?
Yes.
They usually send it out the month prior to when you told them when you first moved into housing, when you were going to PCS out. Yes, ma'am. They send it out all year long.
Depends on what email address you registered. So it just go to the .mil, the soldiers, or it goes to whatever you registered, or?
It's going to go to whatever the email that when you went in and applied for housing, whatever address you gave. At the time, if that wasn't the right address and it's changed, you would need to call the district office for them to update. So it's going to go most likely to wherever you receive your monthly newsletter.
Okay, so if you don't receive a monthly newsletter, you're probably not connected.
Then you probably, I recommend that you call the neighborhood district manager to update your email.
Then on the other slide, talk about make sure you get the packet, moving out, all of that stuff. Is that all online? So instead of having to go, I can download it, take a look at it. And can I make my pre-inspection and move out appointment online?
No, because there's paperwork that has to be signed. The notice to vacate letter has to be signed in the office. And there's some other stuff that they need, like they need your hard copy orders. And right now, no, it's not. I mean, some things are automated, but the initial time to go in, they want the folks to come in there.
And what about the move-out packet? Is that online?
They will give that to you electronically and do the DocuSigns. Like almost when folks first moved into housing, there was a whole bunch of DocuSigns that they did over the email. It's going to be the same type of stuff. The notice to vacate is actually a hard signature because they want to give you a copy of that to schedule your, that has your pre-inspection and your move-out, your final inspection.
So if I go onto your website, I cannot access the move-out packet just to look at it?
I'm not sure. I'll have to get with Lincoln and find out because it's Lincoln's website. I don't know. I will get an answer. It's a good question. I don't know the answer. You stumped me. You're welcome. Anybody else?
Good morning. My name is Siobhan, and I work for Joint Personal Property Shipping Office here on JBLM. Today, I want to just share with you the two different types of storage that are offered to service members. There's non-temp storage and storage in transit. For non-temp storage, members going overseas are authorized non-temp storage for the length of the tour. Retirees are authorized up to 1 year, and service members separating are authorized 6 months only. For overseas tours, they are authorized extensions. They just have to submit the extension and showing that their tour was extended. For retirees and service members separating, there are no extensions, but your shipment entitlement does stay. So after the 1 year, you will have to pay out of pocket for your non-temp storage. The other storage is storage in transit. That's the storage you get when you PCS, and if you don't have, or you're not ready to receive your household goods, they put your stuff in storage. You're authorized 90 days. Those you are authorized to get an extension, but you have to submit for the extension. And we recommend submitting for the extension at least 30 days in advance because it can take some time for the extension to be approved. Also, our main thing and what we really like to hit on is providing accurate information and contact information. Because if we can't get a hold of you, then we can't extend your storage. So please share this information with your service members, and if you know that they're PCSing. And for civilians, we did want to put out there for civilians who have storage, if you know any civilians that are PCSing or who have storage, just let them know that every year their funding, it needs to be updated. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, good morning again. Alicia Grady, Director of Personnel and Family Readiness. Just want to mention an event that we have for our Gold Star family members. This is in recognition of Gold Star Family Day on April 5th at the Bowl Arena. We're going to have bowling, and then we're going to provide food and snacks for the folks that participate. For our exceptional family members, we have a bowling or a bingo night that's going to be at JBLM Cares on March 13th. So anyone who is enrolled and registered in the EFMP program, please come out and join us for some bingo. We want your feedback. We're doing our annual needs assessment. The QR code is on the flyer that's on the table. So if you want to scan the QR code, it's a quick survey. It gives us a good feel for the services and programs that you're all looking for. And it also gives us a good gauge for those things that are no longer really relevant or needed so that we can adjust programming to meet your needs. So please take a few minutes to fill that survey out. Anyone can fill it out. And then finally, we are in the Army Emergency Relief Campaign window, 1 March through 15 May. All the units have been assigned their campaign coordinators, and then out of our office works the main campaign coordinator where everything rolls up into there. So your units would have that information, and they'll be getting with you to make your contributions for the annual AER campaign. Any questions for me? Yes, ma'am. Oh, DIPPER, yes, sorry. Okay, so Director of Personnel and Family Readiness, we are a hybrid directorate here at JBLM. We were a pilot implemented 3 years ago, and we are continuing. We are a task organization, if you will, which combines what you would all know as your legacy Directorate of Human Resources, so all of your military personnel division, SFL TAP, education, the ASAP program, and then Army Community Service, or for the Air Force, your Airmen and Family Readiness Center, which is your family programs, essentially. We have rolled them up under one directorate, Directorate of Personnel and Family Readiness, and it has actually been very good for us because we've able to wipe out some duplication of effort. We've been able to co-locate and combine a lot of our functions with the end result being better customer service so that you're not having to go to 3 or 4 separate places to get what you need. We're making it easier for you to get everything in one location. Our 4 main hubs for services is Waller Hall on Lewis, Maine, the Hawk Career Center on Lewis North. We have our Service Member and Family Assistance Center at Madigan, which is co-located right next to the hospital, next to the WTB, and then on on McCord and Building 100. So essentially those 4 hubs are one-stop shop. You can get just about everything that you need in one of those hubs. And our goal is to provide services to you where you work and or where you live. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Good morning. I'm Kathy, Directorate of Public Works Environmental Division, Sustainability Outreach Coordinator. And I'm just talking about recycling right on JBLM. So as we know, not everything is recyclable. So if in doubt, throw it out. I've left flyers on your tables, all kinds of environmental information, but one of them talks about keeping plastic bags out of the bin. It does matter. The whole recycling container will be contaminated and all go off as garbage if that stuff is found in there. So once again, just stick that flyer up next to where your recycling bins are and just let everybody know, no plastic bags, okay? Next slide. So March 22nd is World Water Day, and on JBLM, only rain down the drain. It's a big push for us, and we want to make sure you're doing it right. If you have any questions, check out our Environmental Division website, or reach out through Sustainable JBLM on Facebook. We'll answer what you've got going on. Next slide. Go Lewis McCord is the program here for alternate transportation. It kind of rounds up, if you're living off base, you can van pool. Right now there's a $265 mass transit benefit. Carpool counts. You can check out a bike for up to 2 weeks. I know it hasn't been bike weather, but we're about to get there. 6 different locations for bike checkout. And the Go Transit shuttle runs every 20 minutes during weekdays. And it can connect with outside agencies like Sound Transit and Pierce Transit for travel to do Lakewood, SeaTac Airport. We got all kinds of hookups. So again, go lewismccord.com or our transportation page on the army.mil site, and the QR code is there. I also wanted to let you guys know, if you've got a unit out there and you're looking for some mulch, compost, or recycled concrete or recycled asphalt, our compost facility outside the gates at Solo Point Road at Earthworks has product available for use in military projects, in troop projects. All right? Any questions for me? Okay, thank you. Oh, yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Correct, troop projects. But we do collect food waste. As you may or may not be aware, JBLM composts all pre-consumer food waste from DFACs and facilities here on JBLM, and it's all goes out to Earthworks, and that does turn into a really nice compost, but we can use for troop projects. But if you want to deposit your food waste, you can do it at the recycle centers, and if that's something you're collecting and you're living on post. But other than that, Pierce County requires that all organics go in the trash if you're living off post. Okay. Yep. Yes, there's a spot right there. Yeah. And for cooking oil, and if you haven't been to our recycle centers, you need to swing by. There's some really great stuff that we do. For example, you'll see us at Kids Fest this year, and we'll be giving away 1,000 books that have been recycled, right? So we collect books and then we give them back to the community. We collect e-waste. You know, if you've got that new you've got an old TV and you've upgraded to a smart TV, bring that old TV to us. We make sure, you know, we collect cardboard, metal, all kinds of commingled plastics. But again, it's a recycle right process. So we want to make sure we're getting the good stuff.
That's all on your website?
It is. Yes, it is. It's on. If you just type in JBLM recycling, you're going to pop up with all of the things that we've got going on, and there's a recycle brochure up there too. And there's an email. If you've got questions, we have a recycling coordinator who can help. So, yeah.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know every place is different. This is the place we are coming to that they don't pick up glass at your house. They don't do that either, I guess, off post. You have to take it. What if do you ever do a survey to say, oh, all of us really want you to pick up our glass?
They're not going to pick up glass. So, but you can shop it at the recycling center. Okay, so it's been an ongoing conversation, but glass in a recycling situation, in a process, contaminates the rest of the recycling materials. And Pierce County is really clear on that. LeMay is our service agent, and they will not be picking up glass.
So it doesn't get contaminated when I drop it off at the...
Right, because it's kept separate, yeah. It's a source separate recycling process. But yeah, you can take your glass to the recycling centers. And again, there's one on McCord and one on Lewis. Yeah, you bet, ma'am.
I have a follow-up question about the mulch. At other posts we've lived, there's been in housing like a mulch pickup day. Are we going to do that here, where we can go and bring our trucks and bring it back and make our yards pretty?
I don't think so, but let me ask Beth. Is she still here? We'll have to follow up. I'll leave you my card after I'm done talking here, and you can, we'll follow up on that. Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
Can we repeat the question?
Yeah.
We didn't hear the question, sorry. We just want to hear your sweet voice. Sorry, Lori. Just wondering if there's going to be a community-wide mulch pickup day. We've done that at other posts, and it's on the resident. You have to go bring your car, your wheelbarrow, but the mulch is all in a single place, and you pick it up and you come make your yards pretty, and then it takes a little work off of the lawn crews too.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Morning, I'm Chaplain Dave Schaffner, I'm the Garrison Chaplain. This first slide is just kind of a mark down the date. This will be our National Prayer Breakfast. It'll be on the 7th of May at the McCord Club. Next slide. You've probably noticed that we have entered the Lenten season, and so some of our events have already started with Ash Wednesday and then Stations of the Cross. Those kind of services are beginning and building up towards Easter. This year, we're going to have a couple of Easter sunrise services. A couple of years in the past, we haven't done that. We're doing it this year. We're going to do one over at McCord Chapel, between the two chapels at 6:15. I know that's kind of early for church, but it's so that we can watch the sun come up. And then we're going to do it right across in the main parade field on the Lewis side there. So we have two different services that you can come to for Easter sunrise. And then all of the other services, especially on Easter, we'll still continue to have all of our normal services. Those two sunrise services and the breakfasts that are associated with them will be just in addition to what we already are doing. So we've broken it down for the Catholic community. Next slide. And then we have one slide for the Protestant community. So you can, those are in your packets. Please share those with your folks. Any questions for me? All right, I believe I'm going to be followed by the commissary.
I am the new store manager at the Lewis Main Commissary. My name is Judith Wambach, if I have not met you yet. McCord will be running a Kellogg cereal sale from the 13th through the 15th of March, so if you'd like to stock up, that would be the time to do so on your cereal. Next slide. So we are doing a one-stop shop for your St. Patrick's Day dinner at the Lewis Main Commissary. We have John Morrell corned beef, $3 off coupons. We will also have cabbage, 2 pounds for $1. Carrots, $1.29 for a 2-pound bag. Potatoes, we will run your baby Yukon and Red, 2 for $6. And we will also have onions, the 3-pound bag, yellow onions for 99 cents. Any questions? Here's the exchange.
Good morning. I'm also a new store manager. My name is George Bain. I came down from JBLM and been here a couple weeks. Love the weather. Got to get used to it, I guess. I want to highlight a couple things for the exchange. On the Lewis side, St. Patrick's Day, fun thing, discounts, always good. And then for McCord, we've got our outdoor living grand opening on the 28th. All of March, you'll have kids events at both locations. Other thing that's not on the slide, what I'd like to highlight is that on the 27th of March, we'll be honoring our Vietnam veterans with a pinning ceremony. So there's more information to come out on that. Next slide, please. On here, I would rather highlight the sweepstakes. Anytime you see sweepstakes, shopmyexchange.com, sweepstakes, enter. You never know. When I was up in JBLM, we had 7 people win combined almost $10,000 just doing sweepstakes. And these are all soldiers and airmen up there. Right, next slide, please. Okay, Fort Lewis construction on the renovation project. Being new here, I've been to that store once. I found that the entry point on Nevada is the best way to get into the parking lot. So Nevada is the way to go on there. Next slide. Speaking of, there's general information. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We want to thank the entire community for being patient with us as we change the store there. We should be anticipating opening on the 11th of November in 20. Increased size on the store itself. We're going to have some new concepts in there. Slim chickens, wall burgers. If you've been over in Europe, wall burgers can be a neat thing. And then the new mall has, again, various activities in there. And then on top of that, you'll have a Texas Roadhouse being built adjacent to the Lewis Ming store. So any questions? Wow, you're all taking it easy on me. I appreciate that. All right, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jamie Lynn with the Lewis Community Spouses Club, and we are here to talk to you about Ace Night, which is our annual charity event. It's coming up next Friday, the 13th. In case you're not sure what to wear to a circus theme event, and we have Melissa coming up in the middle. If you don't want to be as adventurous and dress in theme, semi-formal attire is fine. Slacks and a dress shirt for gentlemen, a nice gown, cocktail dress is okay for the ladies. Just so you know, we have live and silent auctions that are going to be happening at this event. We have James Taylor and Bonnie Raitt tickets, Brad Paisley, the Lumineers, Chris Daughtry. We just got the Pacific Jazz Institute's Tower of Power in Seattle. We have a couple tickets. You'll be joining the USO with that one. We thank them for donating that. We have tickets to the Seattle Dragons, Seattle Storm. We have a Leavenworth package. Are you all getting your tickets yet? And then we have a wine tour, and we also are going to be having a private dinner with a Greek chef that will cook for you in a private setting. Those are just some of the things that we have for our auction. Why do we do this? We give away the money that we raise throughout the year in the form of community grants and scholarships. Last year, we gave away over $35,000 to the community, to the Boy Scouts, to the Buffalo Soldiers Museum, Dogs on Deployment, Wear Blue, Run to Remember, Safe Place, and then we also give a big chunk of change to the Fort Lewis Family Member Scholarship Fund. And that's our goal this year, is to do the same with that. So that's our big event. Speaking of the scholarship fund, our community grant application is due by March 29th. This is all dependents and spouses are eligible to apply for, nope, I'm talking about the grant, the scholarship. The grant, these are organizations off post that can apply for our grants. And they are due March 29th. We have, like I said, Ace Night is on the 13th of next week. Our Nerf Wars fundraiser is coming up. I apologize, we don't have a flyer for that. And then our April luncheon is at Sam Adams Eagles Pride. Melissa, April, and myself will be in the back answering questions. We have some flyers with a QR code that will link you directly to the website to buy your tickets if you want to do that today. Yes, Ms. Ryan. I don't think you need a microphone.
Oh, wow. There it is. So I just wanted to point out that the first core basket is probably more awesome than anyone else's here. Did you hear 7th ID boo? Just anybody else? So I just wanted to put that little friendly, very, very friendly competition out there.
So we do have baskets that have been generously donated by the different brigades on post, a few battalions. There is a little bit of a competition for that. We are accepting baskets until Friday.
It's not little.
Of this week.
I'm sorry, carry on, Jamie.
That's it. Thank you.
Oh.
Yes.
What's the matter, Sky? Your microphone's not working?
I thought the deadline was the 25th of March for the grants.
Nope, that's the 29th.
I mean 25th. For scholarships is the 29th?
So we give to the scholarship fund, but that's a completely different organization. Angie's going to come talk to you about that. So our deadline for community grants, so Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you know, any organizations, nonprofit, schools, we give to Lakes, multiple Lakes high school athletic teams. That's our deadline for March 29th.
Okay, thank you.
And all of their units
right, can participate too?
Yes,
And they
so-
are? This event is a community event. Historically, we have done most of our advertising and most of our attendance have been to our military family that are right here at JBLM. But we've taken this event off post this year. It's at the McGavick Center, and so it is open to all members of the community. But we have invited, and we've been working with Mrs. O'Sullivan to help us bridge, the gap between the Air Force and the Army here. And so we are doing our best to reach out, and not just Army and Air Force, but I know that we also have other other service members here from other branches and the reserves. Anyone is welcome to attend this event.
If I may ask one more question, not that you have a choice. Can you talk a little bit about the name change
No.
for the Spouses Club?
No, because it's not formal yet. But the
Okay.
Spouses Club will be changing our name to show that, so there used to be a McCord Spouses Club. They dissolved last year. We've been brainstorming and trying to figure out the best way to engage with our Air Force families that are here on post and off post. And so our membership did vote to change our name in the fall. It is going to be the Spouses Club of Lewis McCord. Once we have finalized everything with the state of Washington and the IRS and then resubmitted our revalidation to MWR, then we will present as the Spouses Club of Lewis McCord. I anticipate presenting, so our board year runs from June 1st through May 31st, and so I anticipate presenting the new name in June when the new board year starts. Thank you. Absolutely.
All right, so I am Angie Melnick from the Fort Lewis Family Member Scholarship Fund, and like the Spouses Club, we are also in the process of changing our name to be more inclusive because we did open up our eligibility this year for any dependents or dependents of any service that is assigned to JBLM. So in the past, it was always Army family members, but it is anyone assigned to JBLM or retired from. So our deadline is coming up really soon, so if you have any family members who need to apply, please make sure that they get that done. The application can be done on the computer and submitted, and then the supporting documents can be mailed directly to us, so you don't necessarily have to collect the whole packet yourself and then deliver. And then we will start in April making sure that we have all the information that we need and start making the decisions about how we're going to disperse that money. And then we collect money from several different organizations. The Spouses Club is one of them. The thrift shop, the Fort Lewis Thrift Shop is another, and the Sergeant Major Association of the Northwest. Those are our three big donors. And then we also have public and private donors that we seek money from as well. I feel like there was something else I was going to say. Nope, I think that's it. Any questions? Yeah.
So let me understand that this Fort Lewis Family Member Scholarship Fund does not fall under the Spouses Club?
It does
You get your
not.
funding from the Spouses Club?
We
or part of
get
it?
some of our funding. Yeah, that's actually a really great question. A lot of people think that we are part of the Spouses Club, but we are actually not. We are our own 501c3 organization, and we actually apply for the community grants from the Spouses Club to acquire more money to give out in scholarships. And we've given out, in the past 5 years, we've given out $190,000 to 144 recipients, and that's graduating seniors going into college for the first time, that's continuing education, that's spouses who are just starting out their journey in post-high school education, and also continuing their education.
And will you be changing your name?
We will, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Just one really quick one about the range. What is the value of the scholarships about, because I know a lot of times application processes are exhaustive, and if it's nice to know how much you might get.
Yeah, absolutely. So we try to make the lowest scholarship $750. That changes depending on the amount and quality of applicants that we have. And then I think last year we gave up to maybe $2,500 for one scholarship. Is that right, Paula? That sounds about right, yeah. And then also part of our scholarship, so the Spouses Club at their scholarship, or at their ACE Night event, they do collect money for a Claire Marsh, a named scholarship, the Claire Marsh Scholarship, and they use our spouse pool for that. And so last year, on top of the scholarships that we gave spouses, the Spouses Club actually awarded 2 of those spouses about $2,500 apiece. So we had some of our scholarship awardees walk away with almost $5,000 in scholarships last year. So support Ace Night. The more money they raise, the more money we can give out. So thank you.
Good morning, Kelly Wetzel with MWR. Lots of fun stuff happening in the next few months. Starting off with our big Shamrock and Run. That kicks off our run season at JBLM. The run season starts in March and goes all the way through December. Our first run is our St. Patrick's Day run, so there are some deadlines you need to know about if you're going to run. The first is the first 400 people who register for this run will get a custom t-shirt. We're at about 200 folks registered, so you've got a little bit of time left before you'll run out of time to get your custom shirt. And then another deadline is March 11th. That is the deadline for folks for the pre-registration. That's your cheapest registration, so you've got about a week to keep the cost down. And then another deadline on the 16th, and that means you'll get your pint glass. So if you're over 21, you'll get a pint glass for the run if you've registered before the 16th. A couple of other events coming up. The Hello Spring Sale at the Northwest Adventure Center will be closing out our spring and winter clothing. You'll get about up to 20% off that. And then the other is the Rising Star. This is a competition for our active duty folks. If you are a singer, spoken word, rap, poetry, we'd like you to come out and audition for that. That's at Sounders Lanes. It's a 3-week competition, so sign-ups and auditions are the 13th, and then rounds 1, 2, and the final rounds in April. It's just for active duty folks, but we really encourage folks in the units and the squadrons to come out and support the folks who are out there singing their hearts out. Other activities that we've got coming up, the UFC fight on the 7th of March, UFC 248, free at the McCord Club and at the Warrior Zone. It's a $5 cover at the Sam Adams on Cascade. The St. Patty's Day party also at Sam Adams Cascade. We have also the Spring Flea Market, the 28th of March. It's a different venue this year. It'll be at Wilson Fitness Center on Lewis North. Next slide, please. So a rundown of the sports tickets that we offer at Leisure Travel Services. It's Sounders soccer season, and it's also Mariners baseball season coming up. Spring training is heading towards the end. We'll have tickets for opening day. We've also got tickets for the Salute to the Armed Forces night. We have a couple of bobblehead nights there. So if you want Mariners tickets, get them through Leisure Travel Services. You'll get a nice discount that way. And the same way with the Sounders tickets. We've got some special nights that they've offered us some discounts, so you can pick up your tickets at the Leisure Travel Services. They're located inside Adventures Unlimited on McCord Field. They're also located inside the Bowl Arena lanes on Lewis, Maine. And then we'll disregard that first for the sports and fitness update. Wilson Fitness Center, their 24/7 access is finally back online, so you can go and work out there 24/7. The McCord Maine Fitness Center, their courts are closed through the 12th of March. The aquatics hiring fair for folks who want to be lifeguards. We need lifeguards. The more lifeguards we have, the more open swim we offer, and we also will be able to open Shoreline Park this summer to swimming. If we don't have lifeguards, it's a swim at your own risk kind of a situation. So we need those lifeguards. If you have family members who would like to be lifeguards, we've got the aquatics hiring fairs coming up. There are some things that you need to do in order to get to become a lifeguard. There are some pre-tests that you have to go through the lifeguard training, and you can call the sports center and they'll be able to give you that information. McFay Fitness Center, our racquetball courts will be closed starting the 13th of March. And then finally the Commander's Cup 10 miler, that'll be at Scouts Out Gate on the 10th of April. Next slide, please. Coming up in April, Kids Fest is our big month of the military child celebration, the 2nd of April. That will be at the McCord Club. It's a free event, lots of information for family members, lots of activities for the kids. Trivia night at Sam Adams. The Easter Dash is a BOSS program, and they'll talk about that. And then Easter Brunch, we'll start taking reservations in the next week or so for Easter Brunch at the McCord Club. Coming up in March, we've got an open house and movie night at the Northwest Adventure Center. Pitch, hit, and run at the CYS practice fields, and then the Down and Dirty Trail Run is at Soldiers Fieldhouse the 9th of May. And then finally, our big celebration that kicks off our special events is Armed Forces Day in the middle of May. So today I've got Kavika Stoney here from Outdoor Recreation. He's going to talk about the Warrior Adventure Quest program. Yes.
Oh, my first question is for the hiring of lifeguards. Excuse me. Is there an age limit?
I believe there is 16.
16?
Is it 15? 15 for training, but you can't be employed until you're 16.
Thank you.
So I know you have to have WSI. Are you guys running that during spring break so the college kids, when they come back, could get WSI certified and then apply?
That I'm not aware of what dates. It depends on the spring break for whatever college they're attending.
Okay. So is the information online? I know for the college kids that's a big deal. A lot of times they are moving here, and this is the first time they've been here. Their parents moved while they were in college. So getting a job is an issue.
JBLMMWR.com under sports.
Okay,
It'll
and then I
redirect.
have a question about the run, the St. Patty's Day or any of your runs. Are dogs and baby joggers allowed at St. Patty's Day?
Baby joggers are allowed. I'm not aware about pets. I don't know, but I can get back to you.
Yeah, and if we could put that on the flyers when they publish, because that's kind of nice to know. I think for families to know
I'll
we can
take
bring
that
our
back.
woofers and
Sure.
Oh, and then the 24/7 access at Wilson Fitness. Is that so I can get in 24/7, or no? I have to have a CAC card that's authorized for that.
You have to have an authorization to do that.
So it's 24/7 for only some people.
No, you can go and get an authorization to go 24/7.
Oh, and
Yep, it's open to anybody with a CAC card. You just have to have been authorized.
a CAC card though. So my dependent ID card.
You can get an authorization card.
I can.
Yes.
And I go to any fitness center and say I want to work out at 2 in the morning.
So, no, can you clarify the 3 and then clarify that it's any ID card? Go ahead.
It's the McCord Main Fitness Center. It is Wilson Fitness Center and McVeigh Fitness Center.
Right. And those are the places I can go to get my card authorized.
Correct.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. You fill out one piece of paper, one application, they scan your ID card, they put it into the 24/7 system, and then you're good for that gym.
But does the ID card have to be certified at each separate facility? Yes. When you go in the first time.
So.
It's a simple process.
Yeah.
They just do it right.
That makes sense for accountability.
Right, but you don't have to have it certified you don't have to recertify at each location. Once you've gotten it certified, you can go and you check in.
Wait, I thought she said you couldn't do that. She says no. She says yes.
Yeah. Let me clarify. So once you register in this, it is 3 separate systems because they have to be maintained locally. It's each server database is not a DoD database. It is a specific database for that gym. So you do need to go to that gym and register. So if you want to work out at all 3, then you need to go to all 3 and register with your CAC or your dependent ID card, whatever it is. Yeah.
Good morning.
One more thing. Once you've registered for access to any gym, though, that system is a DoD-wide system. So normal business hours, one time. 24/7, each gym.
Good morning. My name is Kavika Soni. I'm a programmer with Outdoor Rec, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Warrior Adventure Quest. This program has been around since 2009. Targeted units coming back from deployment as an alternate to high-risk activities. And so it's a free high-adventure activity open up to units. In 2014, it changed to be more in line with resiliency. So now any unit that is going on deployment, the unit coming back from the deployment, and then every 2 years, they're authorized a free high-adventure activity. The activities can range from whitewater rafting, bungee jumping, paintball, rock climbing, activities like that. It's a great program. It not only promotes resiliency training, promotes unit cohesion, promotes unit readiness through these activities. I have a flyer on the tables, so it has a lot of the information. And also you can check it out on the Enterprise website under Outdoor Rec. I will be here afterwards if anybody has any questions for that. So yeah, we have a lot of units that use our program, but a lot of units that don't know anything about it. So that's why I'm here, to get the word out. And also, kind of a side note, if you want us to come to your unit and give you a briefing on not only this, but the programs that we offer, or safety briefings, we would be more than happy to do that. Any questions?
I don't. Oh, there it is. Is this active duty military only?
Yes, this is only for active duty military. So unfortunately, it is a official duty day, so spouses are not allowed for these activities.
Bogus, man. I'm sorry, that was out loud, wasn't it? Sorry.
So it targets unit for deployment, operational deployment, so Pacific Pathways or Afghanistan. NTC type rotations or training rotations like that don't count. So any type of operational rotation does count. Like I said, it's not only for units deploying. If a unit's not in a deployment cycle, every 2 years that unit is authorized the activity. And also, what happens, they do the activity, and then leaders in the unit do what's called a leader-led after-action debrief. So it's just kind of the ties real-world events with the training activity. Also, what's the status of the unit, unit morale, cohesion stuff. And then the results of those surveys are available to the commander, so he can kind of get a snapshot of what his unit looks like. Any other questions? No? Boss? Yep.
Good morning, everyone. Specialist Griggs with the Installation Boss team. Last month, we did 2 of my favorite events that we've done so far with the axe throwing. Surprisingly, we took a handful of service members and came back with all our fingers and toes, as well as Olympic curling. That is a lot harder than it looks. It's very tiring with the sweeping of the brooms. Next slide, please. This month, we're going to highlight 2 things that we have. We're going to get able to get service members certified for open water scuba diving. They will be going to Keeler Pool during the week, and then the weekend they will be going out to Fort Silicone and putting their skills to the test. As well as March 25th, we have our nutrition and cooking class again. That was a big hit last month, so we'll be doing that. This month they will be doing a lunch portion. So it's barracks friendly with a microwave or a stove. Some barracks don't have stoves, as well as dorms. As well as MWR touched on the Easter Dash. That would be April. So the week following or leading up to the Easter Sunday, we'll be looking for volunteers helping us stuff the gift baskets with candy, little toys, trinkets like that, as well as on that Saturday, April 11th, we'll be doing the Easter Dash. We'll have different heats from the special needs all the way up to the ages of 12 years old. So we'll be also needing volunteers on that. So we'll have more information on that come next community update. Thank you.
All right. If you have any other questions, I'll be ready in a second. Let me put out a couple more things. We talked about the Berkeley Street overpass open already. If you use an I-5, I know you're happy to see that. Reminder, daylight savings time this weekend. I know this is the one where you spring forward, but you got to do it. You got to do it until and unless the U.S. changes how we do it. You got to follow it. Hey, it is still dark right now, though, in the morning. So please be very cautious on the roads that we've put out in past community updates. The roads to stay off of, like Eastgate Road. The units know the areas that are off limits for PT. We're getting a lot better at that. But even on the routes that are available for PT, if your unit is not wearing has chosen to not wear the protective gear, large formations, whatever, just please continue to keep an eye out. We do still get some ICE complaints from the drivers who say, I almost hit somebody this morning. Please take a look at this intersection or this road. And we do send patrols out there and reinforce it. But please, I'll ask you to continue to reinforce that with your units when they're out doing PT in the morning, especially in the morning. If they're there in the evening when it's dark, same rules apply. Okay. We owe you an answer on mulch pickup for family housing on base from on-base mulching facilities. We will get you that. The three housing areas that we discussed earlier: Davis Hill, Hillside, and Heartwood. And I mentioned those are the three that have similar type housing built in the 50s and 60s. Cape Heart housing, if you know that term, it's a style of home. Those are the three that Lincoln has moved up because they have the highest number of displacements, again, because of those water leaks, that water intrusion. Those will all be, those are not officially budgetarily approved yet, but we want to get those all done, the work begun in those in FY20 and going into FY21, fiscal year 21. Heartwood, by the way, you saw the renovations in that. It's called a major renovation that Lincoln is doing. In other words, they take it down to just the sticks, the 2x4s on the walls, and it's completely new. Plumbing, air conditioning, flooring, counters, kitchen layout, bathrooms. It's essentially a new home inside that physical thing that you see outside. And they're also looking at doing garages in those same areas. Okay. But let me ask for some assistance here. We also need, I want to foot stomp something that was mentioned earlier about those notices to vacate, the NTVs. We need, if you have unit members, if you have service members that are leaving, please remind them to go, one of their first stops needs to be back in their housing district office and tell people that they're moving so that Lincoln can plan ahead on when to get in there to do that turn maintenance, the cycle of getting the next person in there. That is extremely important. We did clarify from a previous question about can you do this electronically? Yes, if you call your neighborhood, they can email you all of the documentation to fill out for that notice to vacate, and you can do it electronically. The reason they really want people to come in is because they get a lot of questions about what do I do? How do I do it? What's the standards for a hole in the wall? Do I have to patch or not? What do I, they get a lot of questions, so they would prefer to answer those in person, so they still prefer you come to the district office, but they can email it. If you're extremely comfortable reading through it all and doing it, then they will email it to you. We've updated you several times in the past about ongoing base cleanup for abandoned vehicles. The latest number we have is that we have tagged 102 vehicles and towed 112 vehicles. So please continue to put the word out about if you are keeping that vehicle and it is a spare vehicle, get it tagged, get it licensed, get it appropriately done, and park it in the right spots. I hate to see that number that high, but it is that high because we have gone through all of the verification processes that nobody owns that vehicle that we can find. And we have had to tow 112 vehicles. Rideshare, please, again, something we foot stomp in every community update, and I want to just say it again, please rideshare. 55,000 vehicles on and off base JBLM every day. And that's what we're here for. We're here to accept, and those are retirees, those are veterans, those are, of course, us, those are family members. That's great, but we would love to see that number come down a bit. As part of the Washington community, again, those 15 communities that I mention all the time, we are a lot of the traffic on I-5, going back and forth to unit functions. Use the Go Lewis McCord transit system if you're going back and forth to the hospital. That's a bunch of people in one van as opposed to a bunch of vehicles. And then rideshare from base. The DoD will reimburse service members and civilians for ride sharing from point of living to point of work in a single vehicle. Relatively easy to apply for that program. Okay, and the last thing I will say is I saw a lot of joint things going on today. So thank you again for all of that joint discussion and questions and discussion back and forth. That is a great step forward, and we will continue to make this place even more joint. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Maybe the next one, talk about expanding the JBLM 360 app. I went on there and that's great, but all it is FFR. And I'm just
Right.
wondering, could the Go Lewis Support be on there? How would it be on there? The hospital be on there? The newcomer be on there? Child care be on there? So I can just, even if it takes me to a fact sheet with a page where that information is,
Right.
even if it's not as interactive, but still,
Right.
I can get it on my phone.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. We're working on that right now. We're working on one all-encompassing app. Absolutely. For right now, please, for all of the rest of the things, go to the DIPFR website, which we've put out the QR code for several times in this Garrison Community Update, and we'll put it up again next time. Go there. And then remember always, one of the key places you can sign up for all the push feeds like Twitter and Facebook. You can sign up for all of those on home.army.mil/Lewis McCord. home.army.mil/Lewis McCord. Sign up for everything there, and that is where you pull information, but that's where you sign up for us to push you information as well. And I'm glad you mentioned that because it reminds me to remind everybody else, sign up for Alert. That is the DoD sanctioned capability to push information to your mobile device. Of course, it's specifically related usually to emergency situations, but key informational updates that we really want people to know ASAP, even if it's not specifically an emergency. That's the one push mechanism we have to get you information within 10 seconds. Good question, thank you. Had one over here.
I was going to say, don't forget to support the FRG.
Yeah, thank you.
They take credit card.
They're taking credit card?
They are.
Rockin'. So please go. Yeah, thank you for that reminder. I love having the SFRGs here to and the key spouse groups to sell their things. That was a great initiative again from one of the comment cards that we got about how to get them over here. They can do some fundraising and they can provide you some food. And as a reminder, that's for Nelson Rec specifically. The McCord Club, you can sell physical items but not food over at that one when we rotate over there. Good. Anything else? All right. Thank you again. Very productive.